Black books with Black authors, honey, and Black love. So let's get into it. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Charm, and today let's talk about books, okay? As y'all can see when this is dropped, it is February 2023. We getting real blackity black. We getting real blackity black. Okay, so here is my rating system. 5 stars means I love it. Okay, that is something that I'm going to read that over and over again. 4 stars is like, I really liked it, but it didn't really reign supreme. 3 stars is, it was cool. Like, I don't necessarily dislike it, but I might not read it again, you know? 2 stars is like just a step up from bad. Like, maybe I don't regret reading it, maybe I do. 1 star, regret. Let's get into it. First on the docket, we have Our Type of Love by Chelsea Maria. Absolutely love her. This was my first read by her, and I really enjoyed this book. I read it a while ago, and it follows Casey, who is a rapper, and his wife of 7 years at this point. Her name is Delilah. And I'm the type of person, I don't like to share too much because I like surprises. That's really gonna rate the book high for me. So I don't like to share too much, but she is deaf. The book just follows their love. There is a blast from the past that comes up with Casey, and so there was some information and some news that was dropped on them, and they kind of go into this, or Delilah starts to think about the investment in their marriage and different things like that, and like, was it worth it? It's a lot of different elements that are in this book, but I would recommend it. I just love the way that he loved on her. Like, this is a man that loved her for real. And she loved him back. And it was just it was a nice little cozy read. It was different moments that to me was a little bit messy, but it worked like with the story. That's just my opinion. Some people might not even think that, but it's just like, you know, little parts, but this is about our type of love, and I like their type of love, or their kind of love, because it was great. So recommend that one. Next we have Loving Man by Bailey West, and this follows Xander and Angel. First of all, love Bailey West as the author. Y'all should check out her other information. But anyway, so Xander is, if I'm not mistaken, he's either coming off a bad breakup or coming off of like a bad divorce, where I don't think it was his fault. Like, maybe it was the wife or the other woman, or however. So then he goes and he has this one night stand, and woohoo, the girl comes up pregnant. Now, instant pregnancy, things like that, I have read some books like that. It's not really bad, but I wouldn't say that that's my favorite genre or whatever, but this book is good, which is why I recommended it to you. But so she pops up pregnant, and that shifts and changes his entire life. So he goes through that experience and end up like having full care of his child. That is where Miss Angel comes in. I love the way that these two come together. And also, it was kind of a story as well that was about like overcoming, or moments in your life where you kind of start hiding. Like, different instances happen, you lose sight of your passions, you lose sight of things that are like important to you, and it was also part of the story. I thought that it was sweet. I love the fact that it didn't have like overly too much drama, and I love the dynamic of like her and her friends, and I think you all enjoy it. Next we have Serving Time by, this is also by Bailey West, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is also by Bailey West. It's called Serving Time, and it is the Valentine series. So it's a 4-book series. I feel like you can read some of them as a standalone. Like, you don't have to read the entire series. I started with the first book just because that's the kind of person that I am. I think the third or fourth book was like recommended, and I was like, I'm gonna read the series. And so this follows a man named Samuel Valentine. And I was very surprised by this book. And there is a lot of realness about injustice that does happen. It is about love, but this is just his background. So it was one day someone just bombarded in his house and arrested him. It was him, his mother, and his sister. That is who he lived with. He might have been like a senior in high school at the time, and he comes from this background, but he was a good guy. He was a very smart kid, and he was arrested out of nowhere and convicted and went to prison. Okay, and so I won't go too much into it, but while he's in prison, he meets this man, and this man starts to educate him, and he learns that like you can take courses, all of these different things to better yourself. Just because you're in this environment doesn't mean like you're of this environment. Okay, so he gets this lawyer, and he gets access, gets this lawyer, gets off because he should have never been convicted in the first place. He had a public defender who didn't do anything toward his case. So now they, not only is he getting out of prison, but like they have to give him a settlement because like, be for real. And so he ends up getting his degree while he is in prison, and all of the trial goes through, gets out of prison. Fast forward, this man owns his own practice, and he is good. Okay, the boy is bad. And so then there is this case or some sort of situation where he has to work with this woman, and she's also a lawyer, and she's also real bad. Like she that girl, she that chicken. So they kind of collide, and they are forced into this place where like they have to work together, and it kind of follows that. I'm really simplifying it because I felt like this book had a bit of depth to it. I enjoyed it, and I recommend this series. All right, next book I'm going to recommend is called All I've Wanted, All I've Needed by A.E. Valdez. She is a new author, but baby, she came out swinging because I actually really enjoyed this book. I actually started with the second book. I think these are standalones, but a lot of times with these authors, they say that it's a standalone, but like each book builds on a previous book that they had. So it's just, it's kind of like a big series, in my opinion. And this follows Harlow. And Harlow, I believe, lives in Seattle. She is I don't know, she's just I like her because she's funny, she's chill, she's cool, and she moves to another part of like town away from her dad. I think she lost her mom when she was young, moves far away from her dad. She was really concerned about that, but she was kind of like pursuing her dreams. I don't remember if she was in college, pursuing school, she was doing something.
A few moments later.
So Harlow is overcoming a breakup. Okay, that's the thing that happened. So she was in this relationship for a long time. This was the guy that she grew up with. And so they were in this long-term relationship. What y'all think he was doing? Yeah, he was cheating. The man was cheating, just trifling, cheating. And it broke her heart because she was the only guy that, or he was the only guy that she had ever been with. So in a way, she was kind of fleeing to a whole other part of like the country or whatever. So she moves away. And that is when she like meets this guy, and it's kind of slick, like an enemies to lovers type situation, but really enemies to friends to lovers situation, which is why I really, really, really enjoyed it. You get to know about her and her friends, which brings me to the next book called Colliding Fate. And that one is about one of her friends. His name is Kyrell. So, all right, I'm remembering the story. I'm all over the place. Kyrell is one of the friends of Harlow, and her and Kyrell are close friends also with the boyfriend. And so the next book follows him, and I can't reveal too much without like spoiling it. And then they have another friend named Marissa, and the fourth book is about her. So yeah, I'll link all of that in the description below and like have it here on the screen. But that's my other recommendation. Okay, so next is the Muted Love series by Love Belvin. Y'all see, I had to take a minute. I've read books by Love Belvin before. I see why so many people are in love with her as an author. The girl was writing. Okay, the girl was writing in this book, this series right here. Now, disclaimer, right? Let me throw that out there. It's gonna pull on your heartstrings, okay? But it's good. It's a full story. It is like so much character development, which I'm that girl. Like, that's what I'm for. What's the point of me reading a story? I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to see what's going on. So it's a lot of character development. And it follows this girl named Tori and this guy named Ashton. So Tori grew up in a low income, underserved community or whatever, but she's a boxer. And she gets this opportunity to go to a college, but the college that she goes to is like this very upscale college. It's a lot of high class students that's there, a lot of people with money. And so she's a person that's there on a sports scholarship because she is cold when it comes to boxing. Like, people have never seen anything like it. So she goes to this school, and the most popular guy in school, at first they bump heads because Tori is real rough with it. Like, she just like, who you talking to? You know, she meets him, I feel like in class or in sports, some kind of way. They interact with each other and develop kind of like this enemy frenemy situation, because they're not really enemies, but they're not really like, you know, the most cool people either. The story just unfolds. You learn more about her life. They have such a beautiful romance that develops between them, and you learn more about him and her. And this was a different kind of read for me. It to me touched on like different type of topics, like, and I'm being very like vague because I don't like to ruin it, and I'm trying not to give like spoilers or whatever, because I feel like that's what makes a book good. But I would recommend it. The coziness of the romance that they had, because she is new to everything. She is very green, and he kind of like takes her under his wing, and even though everybody else has something to say about her, like, he doesn't, you know, he likes her for who she is. And yeah, it just goes in. And I can't get into the rest of the series, but y'all, baby, the heartstrings. Next up, we have Bless Your Heart by Ashley Nicole. Now, I love me some Ashley Nicole. She was one of those authors that snuck up on me, but like, she's kind of funny, okay? So Bless Your Heart is the first book in what becomes a series called Prevail Village series. This is a small town romance, small town series. Now, I grew up in a rural, very like small community, small town. So I was like, okay, let me see what they're talking about. And they black or whatever. So yeah, it follows Charity and Keegan. You're in this small town. Everybody is in everybody's business. Everybody cares. And Keegan is the most eligible bachelor that's in the city. Like, the most eligible bachelor that's in the town. Because everybody knows everybody. And he's the one that kind of like stuck around. He's the doctor. You know, everybody else is pretty much married. If it's the pastor, if it's the whatever. And so you have Charity, who moves from up north. And she buys this huge house. And moves in, and she had that city rocking. First of all, they were all in her business because she was new, and he took a liking to her. And baby, the mamas, the aunties, the girlies, everybody was mad about it. So they were giving a lot of flack to Charity. And let me say, y'all, funny, okay? Funny. They are childish in this book, but it's good. So recommending that one. Oh, and then after this book, the next two books in the series, I think one is called like Marriage and another one is called Church something. The other two books follow these brothers who are introduced in the first book, and it's again same genre of like small town people, but just different people within the town. And I'll drop those down below. Last but not least, we have Is She the Reason by Nako. This was my first read by her, babes, and I called my mama to talk about it. Like, you know, my mama is just like, I don't even read, but the way I was talking about this book and telling her about this book, she was like, girl, I'm into it. And I'm like, girl, I know. So this follows, I think her name is Kamala and Kadeem, and they are this married couple or whatever. Kamala has just did, I believe, about 10 years in prison, and she gets out of prison to this husband, Kadeem, and she's expecting to come out with her husband. They have, I think, like 3 daughters together, so to speak, and it's a whole new world when she leaves. She's thinking she's coming out to her husband. This man got a whole fiance. Okay? Got a whole fiance, a whole other life going on. The daughters don't really respect her, and he is not even keeping the daughters. The daughters stay with his parents. So she gets out. Her mind is still back in 10 years, and she's really coming out and seeing like what's really going on. And the story follows there. And it is a lot of drama that goes on, but it's also like suspense. But I think I can appreciate it because, like I said, I'm not a person who likes messiness or whatever, and it is a lot of messy in here, but it's a story behind it. Okay, and the girl that he's engaged to is somebody who was a part of the case when the wife was on trial. Really, bruh? And then on top of that, she not even a guilty person. So she didn't went to jail on your account, you know, because like both of them had some extra stuff going on. I don't know if they was like scamming or what was going on, but mainly it was on him. Him being the trifling guy that he is, let his wife eat up those charges while he got away scot-free and forgot all about her. Wasn't really writing like that. Didn't have the daughters in her life. All of these different things like that. So yeah, it was a lot going on. But she gets out. She levels up, and she even like finds the Lord, starts to develop her own relationship with him, all them things like that. But yeah, again, this is not a Christian fiction. I'm gonna throw that out there, but a good read. And that's all I have for today. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Until next time.